Needs Knives, I'm Jared, and today I have another negative video. So I want to address something before we get started, because I know sometimes when channels do multiple negative videos in a row, it can tend to look to the audience or appear to the audience like the person is trying to make problems out of nothing. And I assure you that's not what I'm doing. And I know in this video you'll see that's not the case, but with any of the other ones, I don't want people to feel like that's what I'm doing, because I know, because I've watched other channels where I've seen that, where there's just multiple videos in a row, there's always an issue, blah, blah, blah. And I always feel like that too. Like these guys are they're trying to come up with problems. So I just want to assure everybody that that's not the case. I read the cards however they're dealt, and I play the hand that's dealt, and with just whatever it is, and I'm always rooting for the USA companies to do great. And this just so happens to be a USA company. I don't want to be a guy who hurts, or a channel that hurts any USA company. I want to uplift them. I want to help them however I can. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be, that I'm going to lie or not say what is, right? So, and I really hope that because of the truth, because of me being honest with my video, that they'll take that information and get better, or make themselves better, or even reach out, right? They could reach out. Any company can always get a hold of me at any time. I'm happy to help especially USA companies. I'm always happy to help however I can. Not that I'm anybody special. I'm just saying it's always an option, if they wanted to. I do handle a lot of knives, so I do have a perspective on a lot of great and a lot of bad. Anyways, my point by saying that is just that I only want these companies to do great, and I hope that these, videos, while I know it can hurt them, I'm not ignorant to that. I know that they can hurt them. I hope that it makes them go back to the drawing board or do whatever to just encourage them to be better, so that tomorrow they're a better company, or tomorrow they have a better product, or whatever. I don't try to just come up with problems or anything like that. I just see what is, and whatever is the case. And that's what happened in this video. Shout out to the companies though that do send products, because the overwhelming majority of products I feature on the channel are all sent by the companies, including all the ones that have recently been negative. They've all sent the products, and it is a lot of risk. They always risk a negative review. They risk me being a dick. They risk a lot, right? And I try not to be that. I try to review things no matter if I bought it, so a company sent it, doesn't matter. I just try to review it the same and just try to be honest with what I think or what is, right? But no matter what, that's still a risk from the company. So I do appreciate them doing that. And, you got to give them respect for that they're willing to do it, because there are a lot of companies that don't. But there is a value exchange there, right? They send it, they get my opinion, they get in front of the audience. But if my opinion's bad, then the audience gets a bad opinion, and that can be bad for the company. And I'm not ignorant to that. I understand that, and I know that. But I also hope, like a lot of companies have done, that they'll take that criticism, either go back to the drawing board, or tweak the issues, or possibly even just reach out, because like I've had so many companies after a negative review reach out to me, ask me specifically what needs to be changed or how it's done. They do it, they send me it, or they stay in contact with me along the whole time, and showing me like, what do you think about this? Do you think this is better? And I appreciate that, because that means that company actually cares about bringing a great product to you. But I do want to shout out to companies, because it is awesome that when they are willing to send the products, and in risk of something negative happening. And, just so you guys know, I'm always going off the dome. I don't ever read anything. I don't have a teleprompter. I don't read a script. I don't do anything. I'm always off the dome, and I'm sure that's very obvious. But, just like with something like this, I'm doing it in one take. I don't have, I could do it in 5 takes, right? Which is no problem. If I mess up, I can always redo it. But I'm only saying that because, when you capture my emotions, however they fall, it just is what happened, right? Sometimes I'll redo it, because I'll look at it and be like, this didn't come out the way I would like. But in most cases, it just is what it is. But anyways, let's get to the video. Okay, so let's check these knives out. We'll talk about what the issue is, because it is pretty significant. Now, This is a model that's very similar or just like the Rat 1, right? So we had the Rat 1. It's iconic. Everybody knows it. And if you don't, you should, because it's been around for a very long time and was one of the best budget knives of its time. Now, it's still a really good knife, but, there's a lot of competition these days, but still a fantastic work knife. Now, this one is an assisted crossbar lock version, right? Assisted crossbar lock version in 14C28N, made in the USA, which I absolutely love. And that's why this is difficult, because I'm obviously going to call it as I see it and be very honest with you guys by everything I find or my conclusions or whatever. This is obviously the smaller one, 14C, also made in the USA. The original ones were made in Taiwan. And obviously were liner locks. Now, I know there is also an automatic version of this that's a crossbar lock. So if you want this exact one with a crossbar lock, they do have that. While I am comparing them to the Rat 1 right now, I'm doing that because it's the same designer. It's the same company, but they are two different models. There's actually a frame lock version of both of these. These are made in the USA, but the frame lock versions are made in Taiwan, just like the Rat 1. But now, and I have had the frame lock versions on the channel, so I have reviewed these and I did like them. The AVISPA stands for wasp, it's Spanish for wasp, and the ZANCUDO is mosquito. Now, there is crossbar, like we have here, crossbar lock assisted opening versions, and then the Rat 1 also has an assisted crossbar lock version as well. Because they are the same company. But I just wanted to make that clear that there are frame lock versions of these that are made in Taiwan, and I did really like them. I've had them on the channel. I don't own them, but I did like them, and I do have those videos somewhere on the channel. It's been a long time, but they were a model that I actually did like. Now, what is the issue? Let's get into it really quick. So, you guys probably see it from there. You have a big major chip right there, right? Got one on this one too. So, what that's from is when I close it, right? At first, I only found this one, and I was like, oh, man, what's going on? So I went back here, and I looked, and I seen it's not hitting. But then I pushed it and realized when you push it in, it hits. You can hear it? So it hits that right there. So I don't know how much steel you'd have to remove to prevent that. I have no idea, because when you push it in, it hits these back spacers. Now, this one didn't even have this chip at first, and I opened and closed it, and I checked it, and it was fine. And I was like, okay, this one's cool. Well, then I just went like this, and I felt, okay, there's play in this one too. And I literally just went tap, tap. Very, very gentle, and this significant chip came out. So, even more so than the issue of it hitting, how big it chipped is an issue. I don't know how it chipped that big. This is 14C28N, very tough steel. So I'm coming to the conclusion, and especially after feeling the edges aren't very sharp as it is. I'm guessing it's just a burnt edge or something. I don't know. But 14C usually is a steel that is easy for companies to heat treat. But I don't know. I can't speak to exactly why, but no edge should have chipped this much by the amount of, hitting I did, to create it, especially with this geometry and this edge angle. Now, if this was like a 12-degree edge angle, then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense, but not on something that's probably a 25-degree edge angle or more. Now, that's significant because now when I go to close it every time, I have to be very gentle, right? And I don't want to be, when this is supposed to be a work knife, I want to be able to just close it and slam it shut. I also want to know that if I drop it, it's not just going to suddenly just chip out. Another thing is how much steel will I have to remove in order to prevent it? I have no idea. And it could be indefinite because it's only pushing so far till it hits. So does that mean as the edge goes up, it just goes farther and farther and farther, and it'll always do that? I don't know. I mean, there's only so much room you have inside here for it to not hit, or until, like it stops it, because this is a stop pin right there, right? So that's supposed to be the stop. It shouldn't go any farther than that, but it does, and it goes all the way to here. So I don't know how much farther that groove goes in order to know how far it will come out. Unless if I took out the back spacers and pushed it really far, then I guess I could see. But I'm not willing to do all that. The knife is priced well for USA made. Both of these are priced extremely well. This is right around $100. I forget what this one was, but I'll put it up on the screen, but it wasn't expensive. It is a cool knife. The auto is decent. Like, it doesn't thwack as hard as this one. This one's definitely a harder hitter, but it's a bigger knife, so it makes sense. The crossbar's easy to get to. The handle is extremely ergonomic. One of the things that made the rat so popular. You got a nice choke up spot. All around, as far as a user goes, it would be great. You know, aside from that. Now, I did check the lockup, and both of them are solid, which is good to see. But the next thing, there's a significant amount of up and down. Like a significant amount. Let's see this one. Let me lock it open so you see. Now watch the blade. I want to keep my fingers out of the pad just in case. Significant. Now, I pushed up on the bar to see, okay, well, is it just the tension of the Omega spring? Pushed up on the bar and it's still there. Not as bad, but it's still there. So that tells me it doesn't matter how strong this is pushing up. It's not going to stop it. Typically that's how it goes though. Typically if the bar is being pushed up stronger, typically the play goes away, and that's how you get a rock solid crossbar lock. This one must have a little bit too much of loose tolerances, because it won't, you know, make it go stronger no matter how strong the Omega springs are. Like I said, the auto's nice. It's nice and ergonomic, you know, relatively good geometry, you know, especially for a work knife. So lots of great qualities here, man. But there's also a significant amount of bad. And the up and down on this one is significant too. And I did the same thing with this one. Now, this one's better. If I push up the crossbar really strong, it does go away. So I will give this one credit. And you can hear the stick. So right there, I pushed it up. Now it's rock solid. So you can hear that stick. That's good. That's what we want to see, because that means that it's pushed up and it's doing its job, right? Pushing up into that, you know, spot and creating pressure, preventing any movement. That's what we want. What you don't want is to push up as hard as you can and get zero stick, and also still have up and down play. Man, you know, I wanted so bad to like this. I really, really wanted to just make a badass video on this, because, you know, it's kind of like a USA made Rat 1. Something, you know, I'd be proud to, you know, advertise. Now, they do have other models and stuff, and, you know, I want to shout them out. I think the company's great. I want to be clear about that. I've always liked the company. I've got videos. Some of my oldest videos were on these guys. So, you know, but this is just how, you know, the cards came out. So here we are. The Rat 1 is still badass though. So, you know, and I do not know, because I have not tried it, how the crossbar lock version of that is. I'm not even sure if that one's USA made or if it's Taiwan. I'm pretty sure it's Taiwan. But, you know, you guys will have to, I'll either have to get one or you guys will have to try it to find out. But there you guys go. I don't want to continue to beat it up, but obviously it just is what it is. It's not something I'd be able to recommend at this time, but obviously I like the company and I hope that they're able to work these kinks out and or just do something better. But we got to do better. We got to do better. Like this one, the edges are not sharp, right? That's one thing. This is not a sharp edge at all. Like if I can go like that, that's not sharp, right? The fact that it has the chip, that's horrible. I do not know what's going on with the heat treatment on this one, but that's a significant chip for the amount of pressure that hit that pin. Or wait, which one was it? I think it was, yeah, the second one. Yeah. You know, so these, and then also the play in this one is significant. So it just shows you the tolerances aren't there either. So I don't know if they need to go back to the drawing board with this one. If this is just a bad day, both of these came out the same day. I don't know. But considering both of them had a lot of similar issues, I imagine it's probably across the board. So I guess we'll see. There you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time. Peace.